box me up real quick, probably clip me, then go home.
As a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter,
Jake Paul has officially begun sparring with world-class boxer Shakur Stevenson ahead of his highly anticipated fight against Gervonta Tank Davis. To match Tank's compact power and southpaw style, Jake specifically brought in Shakur, one of the slickest defensive fighters in the game. This move isn't just for optics, it's part of a serious attempt to elevate his skills to elite level. Over the past 5 years, Jake has transitioned from being a YouTube entertainer to a legitimate professional athlete, putting in countless hours of training, endurance drills, and technical refinement. Now, he believes this partnership with Stevenson will give him the precise edge he needs to pull off what critics call impossible. With full confidence, Jake declares he's not entering the ring just to compete, he's coming to shock the world, silence his doubters, and leave the boxing elite questioning everything they thought they knew about him.
Prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you. How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Love in. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So
Wow.
Just sparring against guys on their level and people who have been doing this their whole entire lives, but we're really focusing on speed and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to lose some muscle so that I have less weight, and so that
Jake Paul's evolution has been one of the most polarizing yet fascinating journeys in modern boxing. From a social media celebrity to a serious competitor, Jake has methodically proven that he's more than a viral sensation. With multiple sanctioned wins under his belt, he's demonstrated discipline, resilience, and a relentless hunger to improve. Despite the waves of criticism that follow him, Jake remains laser-focused on progress. He trains twice daily, studies film meticulously, and invests heavily in sports science and nutrition. His upcoming fight against Gervonta Davis represents his ultimate test, a collision with one of boxing's most explosive fighters. For Jake, this isn't just a fight, it's a statement. He's determined to show that years of dedication, hard work, and mental toughness can close the gap between a crossover star and a natural-born champion.
world and even shock myself and show myself what I'm capable of.
When you picture how it goes down, is there something that you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself knocking him out? Do you imagine being victorious? And what would that mean for you? A guy, again, who has only been in this sport for a couple of years. You've turned it on its head. You've had a massive impact, clearly, in just a few years, but it's only been a few years. That's the bottom line.
No, exactly. This is my 5th year as a pro, and so I've had to progress faster than anyone else in the sport to be able to compete at this level and to be able to hang in there with these guys. But I do believe that I have the power and the offense to be able to walk Tank into a knockout like I've done with other opponents and set them up for it. And so I am fully confident in my ability, and I think it would be one of the craziest upsets in a long time.
Yeah, well, one of the craziest upsets ever, probably, in many people's eyes. Well, I think I saw Cardi B just put a $250,000 bet down. It was a parlay, I believe, on Aspen all over Cyril Gahn. But then for Tank to beat you, have you seen that? And what do you think about Cardi B potentially placing a $250,000 bet here?
I didn't know about this.
The addition of Shakur Stevenson to Jake Paul's camp marks a turning point in his preparation. This wasn't a PR stunt, it was a genuine collaboration initiated by Stevenson himself, who reportedly reached out to offer his help. Known for his sharp timing and flawless defense, Shakur brings elite technical precision to Jake's otherwise unconventional style. To replicate Tank Davis's speed and angles, Jake has also enlisted several fast, left-handed fighters, creating an intense sparring environment filled with variety and pressure. Instead of chasing knockouts, his camp now emphasizes control, movement, and discipline. Stevenson's presence has forced Jake to focus on patience, timing, and ring IQ, traits that define world champions. This partnership sends a message: Jake Paul is no longer playing celebrity boxing, he's building a Real foundation to compete among the elite.
You know, we got some great guys coming in, some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast.
The ongoing debate over celebrity boxing has resurfaced stronger than ever, but the sport's essence remains untouched. At its heart, boxing is still about honor, courage, and craft. Yet in the digital era, the sport has learned to evolve, and the upcoming Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis matchup is the perfect example of that evolution. Boxing analyst Brian Mendoza explains that attention drives opportunity. Fighters who bring in millions of viewers, whether traditional or crossover, create new lifelines for the sport. If they generate revenue, he said, they've earned their spot in the ring. The Davis-Paul clash has revived global discussions about what defines a real boxer, and in doing so, it has reignited fan interest worldwide. Old-school purists may question it, but there's no denying the commercial and cultural energy this fight has injected into boxing's veins.
Man, it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby. I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays, you know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence, you know? They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like I don't know the official one, they're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
They're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate it a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world in the life.
The sudden partnership between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson caught the boxing world by surprise. Shakur, known for his composure and professionalism, rarely aligns himself with crossover fighters. Yet, this unexpected alliance represents something much bigger. It's a bridge between the traditional and modern faces of boxing. Critics called it an odd pairing, but both sides have benefited tremendously. Jake has absorbed world-class technique from one of the sport's most tactical minds, while Stevenson has expanded his reach to younger, mainstream audiences. Their sparring sessions have been described as brutally intense yet mutually respectful. What's emerging from this collaboration is more than just physical training, it's a merging of boxing philosophies, showing that respect for the craft can transcend background or reputation. This partnership challenges the boundaries between entertainment boxing and true professional excellence, shaping a new narrative for the sport's future.
Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson had no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. Nah, it's against a YouTube, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly?
Since news broke about Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson has shared his perspective with remarkable balance. Many fans assumed his involvement meant loyalty to Jake, but Stevenson quickly clarified that his support was rooted in professionalism, not favoritism. From a business point of view, he said, this fight makes perfect sense. It brings eyes, money, and excitement. Yet, from a competitive standpoint, he acknowledged that it may not align perfectly with boxing's traditional standards. Stevenson's nuanced take reflects maturity. He understands both the commercial and purist sides of the game. Instead of criticizing, he appreciates how matchups like these spark conversation, fuel global engagement, and keep boxing relevant in an age of digital distractions.
Opportunity, because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault them for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So, as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
Fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made. You think you might consider doing the same thing, right?
I would, but you gotta also realize, I know that it's not going nowhere. Like, the fight ain't gonna go nowhere. Like, say, because if I really believe in myself,
right,
and I wholeheartedly think, like, if we fight again, I'm gonna win this fight.
That fight still be there around the corner.
After I beat this motherfucker, where you at?
Yeah.
The fight still there. It's not gonna go nowhere. But if I have a 50-50 thought process,
like a doubt,
where it's like,
right,
yeah, I got doubt in my brain, I may be like, all right, fuck it.
Also,
Let's
in his
cash
case,
out.
in his case, it might be that he's tired of fighting anyway. He's leaning towards retiring anyway.
Let's cash out.
So
Within the boxing community, reactions to the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight have been sharply divided. Purists call it a circus act, claiming it dilutes the sport's legacy. But others recognize its strategic value. Commentators note that such events pull in millions of new viewers, many of whom later become lifelong boxing fans. The irony is undeniable. Critics condemn the matchup but still profit from the buzz it generates. Promoters, sponsors, and networks all benefit from the spectacle. In today's sports economy, boxing isn't just about belts, it's about narratives, rivalries, and emotion. Whether people tune in to see Jake win or lose, they're tuning in, and that attention is the new currency keeping the sport alive and thriving.
A lot of people that switch over now, everybody's like, oh, I've been telling y'all Shakur. I know y'all have not. Y'all all been quiet.
They on the bandwagon now.
Do you actually, we talked to Virgil Ortiz, right? He told us that he be screenshotting a lot of the hate on Instagram to remember to maybe one day comment on their posts. Do you remember certain comments or posts that bother you?
I remember it, but like, I'm not gonna screenshot it. What I do, I kind of like, if I see something, I be ready to argue it or go back and forth, but I get up and run.
But I'm
like,
talking about
I'm
get up and run.
Run 3 miles.
It motivates you.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm talking about like somebody that you know in the boxing industry that you respected, that you kind of was disappointed, like, damn. Like,
everybody, except for the people that's like right there with me, like the Bud Crawford. He's somebody who kind of stay with me throughout everything, and I think he's one of the realest people in the sport of boxing. But everybody, I feel like everybody just said,
commentators, people that host shows.
And people around me started moving different.
Like
everybody,
like friends?
Everybody.
Really?
Everybody.
So you had to cut some people off?
Yeah. Yes. I cut people
People
off.
you thought were friends?
Yes.
When you say moving different, what do you mean?
I ain't gonna like go into detail because I ain't gonna need to put everybody on the spot, but a lot of people start looking at me different. Social media make people think a certain image or certain things about you. Like, people I walk into every day, like, bro, I know you. I've been around you for years. You know me. So if you know me, how you feel as though that you gonna go and look at me different or treat me different than what I already was. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, what did Turkey say after that win, like on a personal conversation? Did he say anything to you?
Nah, he just said, good job. We're going to get you on. And
Former UFC champion Daniel Cormier didn't hold back when asked about the fight. He admitted that while it's generating hype, he personally finds it less compelling than other potential bouts for Tank Davis. Cormier believes Tank has already earned his status and doesn't need spectacle fights to stay relevant. Tank doesn't chase attention, attention chases him, he said. However, even Cormier's criticism adds fuel to the promotional fire. Every strong opinion, positive or negative, keeps the fight trending and heightens public curiosity. His comments also reveal the differing philosophies between combat sports, boxing slow, legacy-driven progression versus MMA's fast, entertainment-driven matchups. In the end, regardless of the skepticism, Cormier's critique only amplifies the magnitude of the event.
Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
he's
he's
been a world
taking this
champion so recently. How can he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like, I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and the Jose Sulaiman was very upset that he wasn't able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's a thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 100.
Inside boxing circles, the matchup that purists truly crave isn't Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, it's Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis. That fight represents the pinnacle of technical boxing, two undefeated tacticians with precision, composure, and elite IQ. It's a clash of styles, timing, and strategy rather than spectacle. Fans view this potential showdown as the sport's artistic expression, the kind of pure skill display that defines boxing's essence. While Jake Paul brings mass-market excitement, Stevenson versus Davis promises to remind the world what pure boxing brilliance looks like. Together, both types of fights, spectacle and skill, reflect the sport's dual identity in today's world: entertainment for the crowd, mastery for the connoisseurs.
2 belts, we have Tank to get a couple of the belts, and you have a undisputed fight for those two in Las Vegas, in America, between 2 American guys getting undisputed championship of the world. That would be a mega fight. And we're talking about 2 guys that you have the most dominant, persistent, powerful guy, pound for pound powerful guy, I should say, in Tank, who also is very good defensively, but then you're fighting the best defensive fighter in the entire world, in my opinion. That is a fight I would love to see happen. I would be a big fan of, but I think if we could let that kind of fester and develop for a little bit, and we get that fight, summertime next year, fall of next year, where this is an undisputed fight, I think that's the fight we would love to see happen. I would be all for that. And I think it's realistic. Like I said, I don't think Tank's losing to anybody except for possibly Shakur, and I don't think Shakur's losing to anybody except for possibly Tank.
Former world champion Tim Bradley recently shared his insight on Shakur Stevenson's career strategy. According to Bradley, Stevenson has already cemented his position as one of boxing's most gifted champions. He doesn't need to chase Tank Davis, Bradley said, unless it truly enhances his legacy. His remarks highlight the fine balance that elite fighters must navigate between risk, reward, and reputation. Bradley also addressed the rise of crossover boxing, acknowledging that while purists may reject it, the financial and promotional impact is undeniable. Every Jake Paul event brings millions of fresh eyes to boxing, he noted. This attention revitalizes the sport, attracts sponsors, and introduces younger fans to its artistry. Whether one likes Jake or not, his presence has reshaped boxing's business model. The sport's future now lies in harmonizing authenticity with accessibility, preserving tradition while embracing innovation.
So on and so forth. So, with that being said, why even want to entertain the fight with Tank Davis? I mean, how much credit are you going to really get, Shakur, besides the money, right? That's what Tank brings. He brings interest. He brings a lot of fans in the seats, you know. But as far as legacy goes, if people are holding Tank at a very low status, what, do you need him? Do you really need him? How you doing, man? Good morning. Do you really need him? Because I personally don't think that you need him, you know. Shakur, you should be here to create your own legacy. You know, you're about the competition. You are about that bread as well. And I think it's important for you to really look at the landscape, man, of boxing and see where your big money fights are, you know, besides Tank Davis. As you know, you hear through the grapevine, I think he even told you on X that, you know, he's contemplating retirement after his Jake Paul fight. You know, you're getting ready, hopefully, if Teofimo Lopez signs the contract, Shakur, to be fighting Teofimo Lopez, who has accomplished quite a bit in the sport, man, and has been in the ring with some legends, Josh Taylor, also Lomachenko. I think that type of fight makes sense. You know, going up to 140 pounds.
And that wraps up today's deep dive into the evolving landscape of modern boxing. From Jake Paul's relentless drive to Shakur Stevenson's calculated neutrality, and from Gervonta Davis's legacy to the sport's global transformation, one thing is clear: boxing is changing, but its spirit remains untouched. The next chapter promises not just fights, but moments that define the future of combat sports. Stay tuned, because the story is far from over.